The Quiet Husband, Miami, Florida, present day. The bedroom smelled of bergamot diffuser, spilled Dom Perignon, and the metallic tang of betrayal. Valeria Reyes stood framed in the double doors of the master suite like a magazine cover come to life. White silk mini-dress clinging to every surgically enhanced curve, diamond choker flashing against her throat, ring light phone already propped on its carbon fiber tripod, live streaming to 2,862,000 followers and climbing fast. "Look at this, queens," she sang, voice honey-dipped venom, spinning the camera so the lens drank in the California king bed behind her. "This is what a deadweight husband looks like after 16 straight days of being sick." Mateo Reyes lay half-buried in a mountain of 800 thread-count Egyptian cotton pillows, skin the color of wet ash, an IV line snaking into the crook of his left elbow. His black hair stuck to his forehead with fever sweat. His breathing came in shallow, painful hitches. A rare autoimmune flare-up had been eating him alive for 2 weeks straight, and the one biologic that could actually stop it, still in late-stage trials, cost $42,000 per infusion. Valeria zoomed in on his cracked lips for maximum dramatic effect. 16 days, she repeated, letting the words drip with disgust. 16 days of me carrying this entire marriage on my perfectly contoured back. The $8 million waterfront mansion on Star Island, paid for by my brand deals and affiliate links. The Bentley Continental GT in the driveway, my sponsorship money. The 95-foot Mangusta yacht we're throwing my freedom party on tonight, mine, all of it. Because this man, she flicked a manicured finger toward the bed like she was pointing at trash, has never contributed a single dime in 6 years of marriage. From the hallway, Camila Vargas, 25, influencer petite, platinum hair extensions cascading down to her waist, leaned against the doorframe in a neon pink micro bikini and blew a kiss at the camera. "Tell them the best part, babe." Valeria's smile sharpened into something lethal, something that would trend worldwide within the hour. "I already filed the divorce papers." She reached into her candy-pink Hermes Kelly bag and produced a thick manila envelope sealed with gold foil lettering from one of Miami's most expensive family law firms. With the slow, theatrical flourish of someone who knew exactly how viral this moment was about to go, she tossed it on the silk duvet so the embossed words faced the lens perfectly. "Petition for dissolution of marriage. No fault. State of Florida. No alimony requested. No asset division. Respondent waives all claims." "No fault, no alimony, no asset split," she announced to the live chat already exploding in heart emojis, fire emojis, and crowns. "Everything is in my name because he literally owns nothing. By tomorrow morning he'll be gone with whatever fits in that sad little JanSport backpack he came here with. And Camila is moving in tonight. Say hi to my queens, Cammy." Camila strutted into frame, pressed a glossy kiss to Valeria's cheek, and waved. "Hi, besties. Can't wait to turn this mausoleum into a vibe." Valeria leaned closer to the lens, voice dropping to that conspiratorial purr her followers lived for. "Droppin' pung-pung if you're proud of me for finally choosing myself." The screen flooded with manicures. Someone super-chatted $500 with the message, "Queen behavior." Mateo's voice rasped from the bed, barely audible over the air purifier. "Val, please, Dr. Cruz said the new infusion—" Valeria cut him off with a laugh sharp enough to slice diamonds. "The only infusion you need is a reality check, Mateo. Security changes the locks at 7 a.m. Be gone before then. I don't want your depression germs anywhere near my new chapter." She ended the live with a wink and a hair flip that would be clipped, slowed down, and set to Megan Thee Stallion within the hour. The red light died. Her smile vanished like someone had flipped a switch. She turned to Camila. "Let's go. The yacht leaves in 40. I already hired movers to dump his 3-piece shirts and that ugly Xbox on the curb at dawn." Their laughter echoed down the marble hallway, 6-inch heels clicking like gunshots across Italian Calicata. The bedroom door closed with a soft, expensive click. Silence. Matteo did not move for 30 full seconds. Then, with the calm precision of a man who had rehearsed this exact moment for half a decade, he slid his right hand beneath the pillow and withdrew a phone no one in the world knew existed. Matte black titanium casing, no apps, no photos, no social media, no cloud backup. Only one contact saved under the initials EC.
He pressed call. It rang once. "Dr. Cruz," he said, and the weak, trembling voice was gone. What replaced it was low, controlled, the voice of a man who had never actually needed saving at all. "Activate protocol quiet storm. Medical evac in 6 minutes. Full asset reclamation begins at 23:59 tonight." On the other end, Dr. Elena Cruz, 55, silver-streaked bun, eyes like winter oceans, answered without hesitation. "Copy that, Mr. Reyes. Silent insertion team is 3 blocks out. We'll have you on the biologic within 9 minutes of wheels up." Matteo allowed himself the faintest smile. "Give her 12 hours to enjoy the party. Let the whole internet watch her dig her own grave in 4K. Then bury her in it." "Understood, sir." He ended the call, set the phone face down on the nightstand, and looked at the divorce envelope Valeria had so proudly thrown at him. "Enjoy the yacht, mi amor. It's the last night anything in this house or in your life will ever belong to you again." 5 minutes and 40 seconds later, the bedroom door opened without a sound. 4 figures in charcoal scrub slipped inside. No squeaky shoes, no chatter, no wasted motion. One unfolded a collapsible carbon fiber stretcher. Another wheeled in a portable monitor the size of a paperback book. The third carried a Pelican case containing the $42,000 infusion that had just received emergency FDA compassionate use approval 12 hours ago. Dr. Elena Cruz entered last, closing the door with a soft click that sounded, to anyone who knew her, like the closing of a vault. She checked his vitals herself, old habit from the days when Reyes Biotech was still 3 people in a garage. "Still 103.8, she murmured. "You held the flare longer than we planned." "I needed her arrogant enough to go live," Matteo answered, already unhooking his own IV with practiced fingers. 37 minutes of time-stamped public cruelty. The internet is already tearing her apart in the comments. Hashtag Valeria is over will be #1 worldwide by morning. Elena's mouth curved, the closest she ever came to a smile in the field. "They're calling her the Wicked Witch of Miami. Someone already superimposed her face on the Sea Witch from The Little Mermaid. It has 40 million views." "Good," Matteo said. "Let the court of public opinion convict her first. The real court comes later." They moved him onto the stretcher, draped a thermal blanket over his shoulders, and rolled him out. The mansion's brand-new Ring cameras, Valeria had bragged about the 4K clarity on stories just last week, went dark for exactly 4 minutes. Long enough for the team to glide through hallways lined with original Warhols and Basquiats that technically had never belonged to Valeria at all. Outside, idling at the service gate with the engine off to avoid attention, sat no ambulance. A matte black Mercedes Sprinter with tinted windows, medical plates, and a completely soundproofed cabin waited like a panther. The side door slid open to reveal a mobile ICU that cost more than the mansion itself. negative pressure isolation, full surgical lighting, a pharmacist on board. Mateo was lifted inside. The moment the door sealed, the nurse started the new infusion. $42,000 sliding into his vein like liquid mercy. The fever began to break before they even reached the MacArthur Causeway. Elena took the seat beside him, tablet glowing. Phase 1 complete. How do you feel? Mateo closed his eyes, let the drug do its work, and answered in perfect, icy Spanish. Like a man who just watched his soon-to-be ex-wife sign her own death warrant on live television in front of 3 million witnesses. 11 hours later, the Freedom Party was in full swing. The yacht, 95 feet of gleaming white Italian perfection, now officially named VERA in raised gold letters across the stern, cut through Biscayne Bay under strings of fairy lights that cost more to rent for one night than most people made in a year. Influencers in sequins and body chains posed on the bow for content. A DJ flown in from Ibiza dropped bass that rattled $1,000 champagne flutes. Bottles of Ace of Spades were subraged off the top deck into the black water below. Valeria and Camila stood at the helm in matching neon swimsuits, arms around each other, live streaming again to a peak concurrent viewership of 4 million. "To new beginnings!" Valeria shouted, popping a Jeroboam of Dom Perignon Réserve de la Abbaye that cost $12,000. The foam sprayed over the railing in a perfect arc for the cameras.
"Drop a yacht emoji if you're happy I've finally left that loser husband," she yelled. The chat obliged in a tsunami of yachts. At 11:58 p.m., Valeria's phone buzzed with a bank alert. She ignored it, probably another brand payment clearing. At 11:59 p.m., it buzzed again, and again, and again. 17 notifications in 30 seconds. By 12:01 a.m., every card she tried at the open bar was declined. The bartender, usually all smiles for the woman who tipped in hundreds, looked suddenly nervous. By 12:03 a.m., the yacht's captain approached, face pale under his white uniform cap. "Mrs. Reyes, the charter company just remotely disabled the vessel. Engines, navigation, everything. They say the leasing account has been frozen by court order. We have to return to port immediately." Valeria laughed it off on camera, hair still perfect. "Technical glitch, Queens. Happens to the best of us. We'll be back in the water tomorrow, bigger and better." By 12:17 a.m., the yacht was docked at the private marina on Watson Island. Lights off, music dead, fairy strings flickering out one by one like dying stars. Guests were ferried back to shore in confused silence by the tender boats. By 12:44 a.m., Valeria and Camila were dropped at the Star Island gates because the Uber Black account linked to her Amex had been closed mid-ride, leaving them stranded on the causeway until a sympathetic follower recognized them and paid the driver in cash. The gates wouldn't open. Valeria punched in the code 3 times, still the default 000, because she had never bothered to change it. Nothing. She rang the intercom. No answer. She called the security company whose decal was on the gate. "This is Valeria Reyes. Open my goddamn gate right now." The man on the line sounded almost bored. "Ma'am, the property at 30 Star Island Drive was transferred to new ownership at 23:59 tonight via electronic deed recorded with Miami-Dade County. Our contract is now with Reyes Family Holdings, LLC. We have strict instructions. Valeria Reyes, Camila Vargas, and any guests are no longer permitted on premises. Trespassers will be prosecuted." Valeria screamed, actually screamed, high and shrill into the night. Camila, sensing the way the wind was blowing, had already started filming Valeria's meltdown vertically for damage control content. That footage would later get 87 million views under titles like Influencer Locked Out of Own Mansion, Karma Hits Different, and The Night V-Era Died. At 1:12 a.m., the first moving truck arrived. Not to remove Mateo's things, to remove Valeria's. Designer gowns still on their padded hangers, rack after rack of red-bottom heels, the entire content creation studio with its neon good vibes only signs and ring lights and backdrop walls, loaded into unmarked vans under the supervision of a woman in a severe black suit who introduced herself only as representative of the new owner. Valeria tried to physically block the truck, barefoot now, mascara rivers down her cheeks. Two off-duty Miami-Dade sheriff deputies appeared as if conjured from thin air. "Step back, ma'am. This is a lawful eviction pursuant to Florida Statute 83.59. You have 5 minutes to collect any personal items not subject to seizure." Camila, phone still recording, whispered, "Oh shit," and slipped away into the bougainvillea hedge with nothing but her purse and the neon bikini. She would later block Valeria on everything and delete every photo of them together before breakfast. By 4 a.m., Valeria stood on the sidewalk in 6-inch clear heels and last night's makeup, watching the wrought iron gates close on $8 million worth of house that no longer belonged to her. Her phone had 3% battery and no service. Every line had been disconnected at midnight. A black Sprinter with government plates pulled up silently. The window rolled down just enough for Dr. Elena Cruz to look out, expression serene. "Get in, Valeria. Mr. Reyes would like a word." Valeria opened her mouth to scream again. One of the deputies was suddenly beside her, guiding her toward the open door with a grip that looked gentle, but wasn't. She got in. The drive was silent. 23 minutes across the causeway to the private marina where the yacht had been seized hours earlier. It was now flying a different flag, a stylized silver R on midnight blue. Valeria was escorted aboard, down the teak stairs into the main salon that still smelled of last night's spilled champagne and desperation. And there, sitting in a linen shirt the color of ocean dusk, skin already returning to its normal warm bronze, stood Mateo Reyes. Healthy, relaxed, devastating. He held a crystal tumbler of something amber. He did not offer her a drink. "Hello, Valeria." His voice was quiet, but it filled the entire room like a cathedral bell. She found her voice eventually. "You can't do this. Everything is in my name. The lawyers—" Mateo raised one eyebrow. "Is it?" He gestured to the teak coffee table. A stack of documents waited, each tabbed with neon posted flags like a murder board. "Let me save you the dramatic reading," he said, voice almost gentle. 6 years ago, when we got married, you were 27 years old, had 142,000 followers, and a net worth of negative $11,000 from credit card debt run up on Gucci belts and filler appointments. I paid it off the week after the wedding, quietly. Valeria opened her mouth, closed it. Every brand deal you ever signed, my holding company seeded the campaigns through third-party agencies. Every sold-out in 6 minutes launch, we bought the first 50,000 units through shell accounts so you'd trend. The Star Island Mansion, purchased through a Delaware land trust in the name of Reyes Family Holdings, my trust. The Bentley Continental GT, leased in the name of Reyes Biotech, my company. The yacht, same. Even the ring light you used to humiliate me tonight, purchased on a corporate account. He took a slow sip of his drink. You wanted to be the face. I let you be the face. All you had to do was be a decent human being for 5 minutes. Valeria's knees buckled. She sank onto the white leather sofa like someone had cut her strings. You were sick, she whispered. "You were always home. You cooked. You had no job." "I was home because I own the job. Reyes Biotech, $4.1 billion last valuation. I haven't taken a salary in 9 years because I don't need one. I was home because I wanted to see if the woman I married could love a man without money." He leaned forward slightly. "Spoiler, you couldn't." Valeria started to cry, ugly, panicked sobs that ruined the last of her lash extensions. Matteo watched her for a long moment, then pressed a button on the table. A screen lowered from the ceiling. Frozen on it was the frame from her live stream 37 minutes and 12 seconds in, the divorce envelope on the bed, Matteo pale and shaking behind her, the chat scrolling, "Get him, girl," and "period." This video has 43 million views and counting. The internet has already canceled you. Sponsors are dropping by the minute. Your net worth is negative again. Only this time, it's negative 42 million, because every debt you ever signed for is now being called in tonight. He stood. "One more thing." He paused, hand on the teak frame. "The new biologic I needed, we finished human trials last month. It's going to save thousands of lives. You could have been part of that legacy. Instead, you chose 37 minutes of clout." He looked at her one last time, and there was no anger in his eyes, only a vast, arctic pity. "Goodbye, Valeria." The screen went black. The deputies escorted her off the yacht and into a waiting car that deposited her, gently but firmly, outside a 24-hour Walgreens in Little Havana with a $100 bill and a bottle of water.
6 months later. The annual Reyes Biotech Gala took place on the same yacht, now renamed Quiet Storm, in raised silver letters across the stern. Matteo stood at the helm in a midnight blue tuxedo that cost more than most cars, arm around Dr. Sofia Delgado, the brilliant Venezuelan immunologist who had helped develop the drug that saved his life and was now saving thousands more. The drug was being distributed at cost in 12 countries across Latin America. Forbes had just named him Philanthropist of the Year. Vogue had done a 12-page spread titled The Quiet Billionaire. Below deck, the salon that once hosted Valeria's Freedom Party now displayed a wall-sized photo. Matteo and Sofia cutting the ribbon at a new clinic in Caracas, both of them smiling like people who had never had to pretend to be less than they were. Across town, in a one-bedroom apartment in Hialeah that smelled of burnt ramen and broken dreams, Valeria scrolled through the gala photos on a cracked iPhone screen she'd bought used for $60. Her follower count had frozen at 312K, mostly hate followers now, who stayed for the schadenfreude. Every brand had ghosted. The lawsuit from Reyes Biotech for breach of fiduciary duty, fraud, and the 42 million in called debts had wiped her out completely. Camila had blocked her on everything and deleted every photo of them together before breakfast the morning after the eviction. Valeria's hand hovered over the DM button on Matteo's new verified account. She typed, "I'm sorry. Can we talk? I made a mistake." 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. Then the message. "This number does not accept messages from this account." She stared at the screen until it went dark, reflecting her own hollow face. Lash extensions long gone, filler dissolved by stress and poverty, cheekbones sharp for all the wrong reasons. Somewhere out on the bay, music played, laughter floated over the water, and the man she had called useless raised a glass to a future she would never touch again. The quiet husband had never been quiet at all. He had simply been patient. And patience, it turned out, was the most expensive luxury of all.